Science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, an illusion?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck off and die.
No, dude, I swear to God, like, someone in a bunker in Siberia has better internet than I did before. It was bad.
Well,
it was bad, sir. Now I'm quantum. I'm quantum fiber right now.
Dude,
you guys even mess with that?
You're Giga Jordan over there.
I know, dude. The only thing I ask is please don't touch the cord because apparently it's so fragile that it'll explode in a million pieces. I don't know. Apparently he's like, the dude literally was like, don't touch this cord. And I'm like, it's like right next to the wall. And I'm like, a broom is leaning against it.
Did you
like,
hire just like
to
fucking crackhead Steve from around the corner to come fix your internet? He's like just siphoning it off the business.
It was a real dude. Dude, I can tell you more about it, but it took 6 people to do it. It was nuts. So
tell us all about it.
5 hours.
This is the internet podcast with Jordan and Giga Jordan over there, and I got Giga Speeds. I'll be Giga Leaves too.
Yeah.
No, this is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast because we're not talking about internet speeds. We're talking about movies, but the internet speed is relevant because this episode is late. So if you're listening to it when it comes out,
my apologies.
that's why Jordan had a terrible internet connection. We couldn't even have a conversation.
I mean, it straight up legitimately I couldn't open Discord. Like it was bad.
Which is why
we're a little late, but thank you for your patience.
Yes, I'm also scared because normally do the podcast on Tuesdays. Today's Thursday. The podcast will come out. Hopefully, if you're listening this fresh, will be Friday. So happy Friday if you're listening. But I watch the movies on Mondays and then I'm fresh on Tuesday. So I watched this movie Heathers on Monday. Today's Thursday. I don't remember fucking. I'm like trying to go back into my mind palace to try and remember. I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta go back because I've watched.
What door are you gonna open to find Winona Ryder just hung?
I've watched all 3 Toy Stories this week, and so they're just like in my brain now. The 4th one doesn't exist in my mind. I watched part of it, and I was like, oh yeah, this sucks.
Well, yeah, you'll be there for the 5th, I guess, right?
I mean, maybe. That's why I'm only mad because I still love the characters, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But
right.
Anyway,
and you got children, so you'll live vicariously through them, and
I've seen the first Toy Story maybe more than any movie
enjoyment.
ever. I've seen the Toy Story 1 like fucking hundreds of times. It feels like, but
dude.
But it's excellent. So anyway, this is.
I've seen this movie
Shut
exactly
up. We're not
3 times. I can't remember.
Have you?
I have. We started watching it. And the opening scene happens, and I went, I've seen this movie before. And then the whole time I had to be like, when did I see this? I saw this on Comedy Central, so heavily edited that, like, watching it this time, I was like, oh my God, this is fucking dark. This is like a really dark movie.
But it's like, I'm surprised because it's like, it doesn't even need to be that edited. I mean, it's got some language for sure. It felt harsher coming off the back of Mean Girls last week. You know what I mean? Just because it's like they were using real derogatories and shit.
Well, and director, and just it's like it truly is the 80s where like they're making fun of what feels like more appropriate school setting, and so like it's just interesting like how people were teasing each other. It's just like you're punching down in this movie for sure.
Right. So if you didn't, I don't know if I agree with that. We'll get to it though.
No, we will. I kind of take that back. But
if you didn't. We breezed right into it. We're not talking about the Toy Story trilogy, obviously. We're talking about Heathers, which is the movie of the fucking week that we watched.
Summer school movies.
Do you want
me?
Movies. Yeah, it's school movies. I'm in school now, and I want to die.
You're in school, and your child is in school.
I am a child, also. It turns out
you're taking the same math.
I know, dude. Literally, it's fucking brutal. It's tragic. So do you want me to try and whip a synopsis out, or you want to do one?
You just do it, please. I don't have it in me, man. I do not have that dog in me.
It's been 3 days since I've watched this. I don't know if I can do a synopsis. I know. All right. So Veronica, right, played by Winona Ryder. She's part of the Plastics, if you will, group, the popular group in high school. that is 3 other girls. They're all called Heather. The name of the movie's Heathers, right? So it's the Heathers, Heathers. She's in this group. There's all the cliques in high school. They're kind of the mean girl, popular girls. She meets I forget the dude's name, JD or whatever the fuck, but it's Christian Slater. And Christian Slater is like
dude. God, he's so. I love Christian Slater in the 80s and 90s, dude.
He's perfect for this role. But like,
yeah.
Christian Slater, he's the charismatic but like dark bad boy that definitely would have shot up the school and does sort of.
100%. Yeah, no,
Kinda.
he's got the trench coat and everything to like back it up, dude. Like
the one earring. So he's a bad boy, and so Veronica starts being like kind of into him because she's getting sick of all the fucking phony bullshit of the Heathers and everything, even though she's like kind of into that group.
She's a poet.
Yeah, she's got a monocle, so
I know
that says a lot about who she is.
I was laughing every time, dude. It was amazing.
Right, and so she starts getting with him, and he's like, we should just kill your friends, and she's like, oh yeah, we should, fucking jerks, hee haw, that's so silly. But then they just go to her house, kind of like one-handing each other, after she actually has a full-blown fallout with the Heathers because she won't sleep with some guy at a college party. And so they poison her, and she dies like immediately. And she's like corn nuts, and falls down into the table and dies because they trick her into drinking like Drano. And so they're like, oh no! But then they stage it because one of Veronica's many talents is she's like the scribe of the Heathers group. She kind of like writes notes for them and stuff, and so she knows like all their handwritings. And so she like copies the Heathers' handwriting and makes it look like a suicide. And so in Suicide, they become like this mean Heather, the top Heather dog, right? She becomes like all loved and renowned, and they're like, wow, she's actually deeper than that. But really, they just murdered her and made it look like that. But they also think it's bullshit, right? They're like, oh, she's not deep. She's not emotionally depth. Right. She's a dumb bimbo or whatever. And then so meanwhile, there's also these 2 jocks that are super homophobic and super jerks and like just really crazy. So they goof around too, like they're gonna like mess with them because now they're in rebel teenage angst love, Veronica and JD.
Right.
So they go to like trick them into meeting each other, and they're like, we're gonna not really shoot them. We're gonna like shoot them with these blanks and stuff. And so they end up killing both of them and staging it to make it look like a lover's quarrel that they killed themselves, or like a lover's suicide pact rather.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they like turn these 2 homophobic jocks into like they are actually secretly a gay couple, and that like blows up into a whole thing.
Well, and it kind of unites like people like, oh, because it's an Iowa town, so everyone's like super homophobic. But then like that happens, and they're like, oh, so it didn't really work that well because now everyone's like, I don't care if they're gay. We love
the
them.
The dad literally is like, I love my my dead gay son and all that.
Yeah, my dead. Rich though is wasp is.
I was thinking of rich gay Mac is what I was going through my head.
True. That's good. Yeah, that's
rich
good.
Gay Mac.
The bike just punches you. to get you working faster.
You think it's a penis? It's not a penis.
It's a
fist.
It's a fist. Okay.
Anyway, wow, we get really sidetracked easily. So, what was I saying? Anyway, things keep going, but then them doing all these murders and making them look like suicides is like getting this attention on the school, and then suddenly suicide looks kind of cool, right? Like, or it's like everyone's getting all this attention.
Yes.
So
the hot topic.
The nerd, the overweight and like nerdy chick actually tries to kill herself because it's like the suicide's like maybe she'll be noticed. Luckily, she doesn't succeed. She survives, but Veronica is starting to be like, you know what? I'm over you, JD. You're fucking. You're a one trick pony. You're just an angsty dickhead, and there's nothing more to you than that, and blah blah blah. And you're just, I'm sick of your shit, and you better quit it out. And then her friend, one of the other Heathers, takes over the top spot, and JD starts manipulating her to try and like get everyone to sign this petition.
He specifically blackmails her.
Yeah.
So that they can all sign the death pact.
Yeah. Which they lay to some other petition, but he's like, no, it's a school-wide suicide note.
Yeah.
Because that works.
Which is kind of his magnum opus.
He's spiraling.
Yeah. He wants everyone to die for reasons.
Yeah. And then like one of the other Heathers actually does try to also overdose because it's like her fucking life, and it's like it's kind of like all these like, oh, these actions actually have more consequences that like are unforeseen and ripple out and blah blah blah. Anyway, eventually kind of comes to an end where JD's gonna try and blow up the school and make it look like this ultimate pact, and like he's like society, man, you know.
And mainly it's because his father doesn't love him.
Yeah,
That's
of
what you
course,
find
and no
out
one
later,
loves him, and Veronica doesn't love him anymore, and all this. He's just kind of he's a sad boy that's the only way he can lash out at the world, and so she tries to stop him, and Veronica stops him, and she shoots him and stuff, but like he lives, and he decides he like goes out, he takes the bomb, and he blows himself up, and doesn't blow up this school, but he blows himself into smithereens off screen supposedly, and she gets all covered in soot, and everyone's like, whoa, but she's like, oh my god, this is such bullshit, and then she's just like, you know what,
yeah,
fucking Sabrina Dump Truck or whatever her name is, the overweight nerd girl that tried to kill herself, is like, let's hang out, man. Like, I'm just like, fuck this shit, like, let's just have some genuine moment, and then it just kind of ends, but it has the same message but in a better way than Mean Girls. I don't know. But,
I don't know.
That's how it ends.
Are you getting at that you like this more than Mean Girls?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess
I
actually,
can tell.
yeah,
I can tell you don't like
guess-
this movie, but I really liked it.
Yeah, man. I don't.
I mean,
know.
it's deeply flawed. Don't get me wrong. This movie.
Yeah.
This movie is deeply flawed. But I think maybe it's just because it wasn't what I was expecting. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, I think it showed. So this is your first time seeing it, right?
Oh, of
That's
course.
because yeah. And so this is technically not my first time. But as I was watching it, it kept being like, it would be like the scene was happening, and I was like, I'm like, I remember this. Like, I remember like JD's relationship with his dad, and I remember him trying to blow it up at the end. And it's amazing when Winona Ryder like goes to the boiler room and like shoots his finger off. Like that's
pretty
hilarious.
good, yeah.
And I remember that. I remember that part. I was like, and it like. I know it's brutal and like it's great. And I love like
now I know
I love the look of this movie for sure.
I know for sure now that I've always suspected that Tim Burton's a hack because he just straight up took Winona Ryder costume and all from this movie and just like, hey, let be Beetlejuice, and like just took he's like, oh yeah, I guarantee you fucking whacked off to this movie. Fuck Tim Burton. Anyway, like,
wow, whoa,
I know.
That's hot, dude. That's hot off the gate. Like what?
I really like Beetlejuice.
You're coming for Tim Burton. Tim Burton's awesome.
Well, no,
he's overrated.
I
but
saw
he's
the trailer
cool.
for Beetlejuice 2 the other day, and I wanted to lay down in traffic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude. Like the guy's getting paid, so I don't know, whatever. But I'm not. I don't like.
Anyway.
I don't support Tim Burton as much as like an M. Night Shyamalan type or
But
something.
Winona Ryder
there, but
in this, like, it just like that was like one of the best parts about Beetlejuice is like Winona Ryder just being also dark and angsty, but her being dark and angsty in this felt like real though. You know what I mean? Like a real teenage angst in a way.
totally.
That, like,
No, that's
I really
something
liked.
that I think they captured really well. Is like it feels more authentic than like Mean Girls, with the interactions. Probably just because it is a little more like crass. Like that clearly there's like times where I'm like God, this is like brutal, and it totally. I think my biggest gripe is that it felt so anti John Hughes that like. I'm kind of like, well, they were overcompensating now, and now they're not really writing like a great movie. They're not trying to make a good movie as much as just a statement.
Yeah,
and so
I 100% kind of agree with you on that because it definitely, like the first half I loved, and the second half is good, but it does become a bit preachy in like what it's trying to do, and like not as fun anymore. Like it gets dark, and I still like it, but it's like something about the like because this movie's like it's wacky and it's kind of silly and it's quirky and angsty, but ultimately, and this probably has to do budgetary too because it definitely looked like it was on a budget.
100%.
But it was raw, and it's like I think that's what felt real to me too. Is like even though it was obviously like teenagers don't necessarily talk like this and they're not actually killing like this, and it's goofy and the music is wacky.
Yeah.
But like
and what your suspension of
the
disbelief.
sets weren't great, and like the fucking Like something about the rawness like made it feel real. Like the fucking just nerd table, just the one guy just fucking does a spit take with milk like every time someone looks at him. Just
Yeah.
It just got me, man. I don't like.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I guess it's like I'm seeing this as like Wet Hot American Summer or something like kind of parodies this trope, and it's just kind of weird to see. I think for me watching this movie, it felt kind of like when we watched MASH, like where it's just like it like I just kind of the whole time I was like everyone's like they're a little. I feel like they're like that's kind of what I mean when I said punching down. Like it's like it clearly that is who the characters are. There is the hierarchy, but it just Winona Ryder's character like the whole time she was like, "Oh man, these Heathers are real bad cats." But then she's like going along with it and totally like she's playing the victim card while she's abusing people, and she doesn't like learn anything at the end, which is fine. I mean, that's this type of movie.
Yeah.
Whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's like you can just that's what you do is like at the end you go, "Hey fat cow, do you want to be friends?" And then she goes, "Yeah." And then like it's like they walk off in the sunset. Cool. Like that, whatever. There you go. That's you can do that, and that's fine. That's
it works
what the movie
though.
is.
I 100% see that comparison to MASH, but like what you're saying for sure, especially because it's like, and also to
there
Wet
are a
Hot
lot of things
American
I liked about
Summer,
it, though.
because Wet Hot American Summer is like the satire
captures
of
it so
this,
well.
but like laser focused.
Right.
Where this movie is definitely kind of unfocused for sure. It's kind of all over the place, and I know it had some issues with writing and rewrites and stuff. So I'm sure that has something to do with it. But
did you know that Daniel Waters, the dude who wrote it, he wrote it and he sent it to Kubrick.
I saw that. I
did.
did.
You see that? Like his
you imagine?
vision. His vision.
that
Was what, dude.
Yeah,
I would be. I mean, that'd be
like, what?
amazing. That would be amazing. Like I can't even wrap my head around what this would even feel like if Kubrick got his hands on it. But I want it. I want it. I want it more than anything.
I like this movie, and I love Kubrick, but I'm trying. That's like me sending my script to fucking like David Fincher and be like, "Yeah, buddy, make my movie." Like he's the only one I can envision making my fucking doing this justice. It's like that's never gonna happen. What are you talking about?
No, right? If it really is, it is. It's
Stanley
like
Kubrick's
taking
never
one
gonna
of the
make
most-
Heathers.
It's 88, so Kubrick's already cemented as like one of the most creative visionaries. He could make any passion project he wanted, and like, but I love it. I love that ambition.
The
and
cool thing
that
is
ambition does show in
it does.
this movie
Yeah,
for sure.
it's definitely ambitious. The cool thing about Kubrick is that, there is a small chance I could see him going for it, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He's
Sure. Oh no,
he's out of the box enough. He like you catch him in the right mood and the right drunk. He's like, yeah, this is the best thing I ever read. You know?
Yeah. No, it really is. Yeah, it's just the right party. But it's like I want to know if this A ever just sat on his desk, and B if he read it. I wonder if this movie ever touched his hands and he read it through.
I'd
But
love to know that.
And also, like the first script apparently was like completely
It's
different.
like 3 hours long too. I heard.
Right. It's like 3 hours long, and like the ending's completely different. And I kind of like the
original
changes.
ending.
I like the original ending a lot more.
Me too.
And so I just kind of like this ending felt budgetary, and it felt like this is why I'm comparing it to MASH so much. Is like it felt like in the moment they're like, this is a good bit, because I personally like the bit where he blows up and then her cigarette's lit, and it's like Bugs Bunny or shit, like that's fun to me, and I enjoy that creativity, and it seems fresh, and it seems like people were just having a good time on set. But then it's like everything leading up to like bits are kind of just like whatever.
The back half, I said, it's sort of unfocused, but like it feels like I don't know much about the filmmakers necessarily of this movie, but it feels like it feels very youthful because it's messy in a way that's not necessarily intentional. But I think I kind of appreciate it's like this. A lot of the same reasons why I like Clerks, right? Like Clerks.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was just about to say this is on like the precipice of like your '90s indie, and
100%.
I actually really miss it because when we get to Money Minute, I'll kind of go to bat for this movie on that front, and kind of like I miss the this budget. We don't get these kind of movies anymore. It's like it has to be like independently financed, and then it's just like I miss studios making these kind of movies, and so
true, little
or
risk.
at least Smaller studios, I
Going
guess, but
going back just a little bit to your comparison to MASH again, it's like where it differs because it's like I do think this movie, its heart is in the right place, and I think that's the difference between MASH and this. Is
no.
MASH
Comparing it to MASH is just tonal, but
it felt like the filmmakers and everyone just doing the like annoying, offensive, misogynistic bits that made no sense.
Because they were like behind the camera, they were honking boobs as they were filming
Right.
MASH. Like it just was.
And this, and whereas this felt like it was like they had their heart in the right place, and it didn't feel like because like
it is satire.
There was
for
obviously
sure.
quite a lot of like homophobic jokes and stuff, but but the way they kind of spun it did, I think, work in the benefit. And it's like obviously the characters are not meant to be like good people; they're like murderers,
right?
But
That's,
but it's like, and the way they spin it, because like even the main characters aren't that much, and it's just like the mineral water bit and everything. But it's like,
that was I gotta laugh out of that because he's like it's Idaho or whatever, it's
Iowa.
like Iowa,
and he's like
Iowa, so
he's like
mineral water.
The cops are like, go look at this. He's like, oh no,
Right. No, that's the payoff. Like, see, and that's where I think we even talk about that in MASH a little bit, where they'll set up jokes like that, but in MASH they didn't really pay off very well. But in this, it definitely like they're offensive jokes that are stereotypes.
But they at least go out of the way in this movie. They at least go out of the way that it's like there is. I'm not saying the execution's necessarily perfect, and I'm not exactly defending it 100%, but it's like they do at least go out of their way to like take these two super homophobic characters and like give them a sense of irony to like them being killed in like this way that like that's the joke that Veronica and JD, like that's their bit, but then it kind of backfires in their face again. So it's just like it's got more layers to like it's thought out a little bit more where it's like, oh, they're super homophobic this whole time. And then it's like, oh, we kill them and make them look gay. And like, isn't that funny? Because we're flipping it around on them. But then it actually ends up being like everyone's really kind of accepting of it. And it makes them into like better people in death. And it's like that is just already 1,000 times more interesting than anything in MASH. No offense to MASH necessarily.
I know.
But,
no offense. Fuck MASH.
But,
we go listen to that episode.
I know, but I don't think that's punching down though. You know what I mean? It's like
I mean that's a good argument.
Some of the nomenclature and like some of the like syntax is dated. I'll give you that.
I think for me it's the opening monologue in the lunchroom when they do like the joke bit, and then just like when Heather kind of goes, Heather Chandler, I think is her name, the main one, the blonde one.
Yeah.
When she goes off on her like long diatribe about explaining, giving us the exposition of how society works in high school, it like that feels like punching down, which I guess it's supposed to. So it kind of. That's on me for in the moment, not really being like.
It's because it's like, it's like this is the system, and then they're.
But you're kind of like it is like the writer kind of setting the whole like thesis for the movie, in that opening scene and who they are, and so I just kind of like I don't know it like leaves kind of just.
That's why the original ending is so much better because early on it shows like because you have the Heathers be like this is society, everyone's in their cliques, and everyone's like basically school is just training for the real world where instead of the geeks and the geeks and the jocks and the stoners, it's the fucking class and race and whatever. But and then like JD's like, no, it's all the fucking break it down and chaos is the only thing. But then he ends up being a fucking like there's no right answer because he ends up being a fucking schleb by the end of it too. That's just like doesn't know. He's like not smarter than anyone else at all either. But that's why the original ending works so much better is because it's like the original ending is he does blow up the school and everyone dies and then there's prom in heaven. Yeah. And if done right, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what it is on the paper, but the idea, if done right, it's like,
awesome. Yeah.
That seems like such a better end to the movie because it's like, that is the bow on like what it's trying to say a little bit though too. It's just like, and then we're all this, and that's where everyone gets along. You know, we're all just, we're all mud. Like, everyone's all just fucking flesh bags.
I appreciated that aspect, like his it's weird though because it gave it like he had like his boiler room like villain speech, and then he had his like, and then it just did that awkward like psych gotcha ending where he comes out and it's like he's been shot, and it was kind of weird because I swear to God, oh no, he was probably wearing a bulletproof vest, huh? But anyways, it's like I can't remember. I swear he opens his trench coat and it looks like he's just wearing the bomb. And so I'm like, did he get?
Does it?
Were they blanks? But it
Yeah.
blew his finger off. So, anyways,
I think it's
doesn't
just
matter,
like,
whatever.
yeah, I think it's literally just like whatever, fuck it at
he
that
survived.
point. Because honestly,
I mean, yeah, he's strapping like Looney Tune bombs onto shit. So
the
it doesn't
last
really matter,
the last
right?
third is a mess. It's like fully
It
a
is a
mess.
I
And
know they pull
and
like
it's
a
not as
Harold
fun.
Maude where she's like
Yeah.
hanging herself and like he comes in and then he just explains everything.
I
I'm
know,
like,
it's a-
I'm like, all right, we get it. Like I could definitely what I felt like well in this movie was shot in 30 days and they were doing rewrites during it. So it was just kind of one of
makes
those like it felt like that. And like it's crazy. All the sets, all the like bedroom scenes, those are just sets. They built one set in the gymnasium of the high school that they filmed in.
Nice.
And so they were shooting like back to back, like
shows.
you know, balls to the walls, dude. Yeah, no, for reals, like it
The-
really does show. But
Yeah, this whole
it
movie.
kind of, I mean, it's yeah,
Do you know what it was shot on? Is it shot on 16?
it's
Is it 35?
dude. Maybe let me double check. I just assumed 35 because
It might
this
be.
is kind of that. This is the time period where like
It definitely could be, but it's
You
like
just
not
got-
the best quality because it's like, like kind of adds to the charm. Like it does. It's obviously very low budget because it's like, yeah, the sets are noticeable, but like the entire time the camera is shaking, like in almost
Yeah.
in like 75% of the shots the camera is shaking, and it's just, and it's not like it's not the kind of shake where it's like someone's holding the camera. If you know. It's
yeah,
because
it's
the
filmed.
camera, whatever's running it, is like kind of a piece of shit. So the whole camera is vibrating. So if you just like look at the edges of the screen, it's just vibrating because the reel's running through it. Because they probably got this fucking secondhand camera on loan or something. But
oh totally
it like I don't know, man. Like it really did it for me. Like I don't know something about it. Like it just this movie's got charm. I really liked this movie. Even though I know it's deeply flawed. Like, it's like the back end's a mess.
Yeah.
The fucking, like, the whole screenplay kind of doesn't really come together in a cohesive way. Whoops. And all this. But, like, I felt that raw teenage angst. Like, this is one of the best movies that captured teenage angst that I can think of, that I've seen in recent memory. Because it does. It feels like it's horny. It's like fucking like, you know, self-conscious. It's like, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean,
but none of it's really
definitely has
on
more
purpose.
to say than like a Porky's or something, or like.
Oh sure,
Yeah.
but it's not like
And
it's not like it's so smart either, though. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
just kind of. I feel like it just kind of
And
is
that's where-
lightning in a bottle kind of thing.
That's where, but
you
I
couldn't
think I think
recreate
it's
it?
like, I don't know though. I mean, that's the thing. It's like I feel like, but I guess yeah, recreate that like that high school setting. You know,
It's like
I don't know. I mean,
well, it's such a
don't get me
specific
wrong, though.
energy to me. I don't know.
It's like I mean, Winona Ryder and like you know Slater, dude, are
The hottest.
That's-
They're the hottest
that is-
couple I've ever
and-
seen in
and
my
they,
life.
and they definitely scrumped during the shooting of this. Like they were totally in a lustful relationship.
Did they?
And it crashed and burned fast. But
Oh,
that's
I'm sure.
that's the best part of it. You know, young and in love, and like
Christian
they
Slater
just,
tried to actually blow up
dude.
school.
oh my god, no, and Christian Slater, like I don't know, man. He's got that. He has that like sexy crazy dude when he's like you'll be back, and I'm like I know. And
will
like
be.
even Winona Ryder was like I that's how come I'm like I swear they were writing in like the gymnasium during night, and like Winona Ryder's like I gotta go back to him, dude. I
I
wouldn't
know,
that be-"
right?
She's like talking like he's like no, we're not gonna have you go back, and she's like wouldn't that be funny though if I just like went back to him?
It's like as a joke.
Thinking about it.
Well,
As a- yeah.
It's like in 30 Rock, it's like Jennifer Aniston's character with Jack. Where it's like he's just like, I wish I was chained to a radiator. You remember that?
Yeah.
I wish Claire would punch me in the face. But fucking, I don't know, man. Because like their chemistry works too, you know? So I was kind of sad to see it fall apart, even though it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, what they're trying to do with JD's character and everything. And, you know, Veronica is like sort of the audience surrogate, you know what I mean? More than she could have been. Like, she's not her own character as much, you know, and she doesn't go through big growths other than like, oh, these guys are wrong, but also maybe this isn't right, but I'm like caught up in like the dark side of things because I'm like, you know, anti counterculture, you know what I mean? But then
Yeah, right.
also
She's not like other girls.
like
That's-
also
that's
let's
all
just like everyone love each other is like kind of the. So I don't know. This movie feels like a confused teenage girl, and I love that.
Yeah, no, I definitely, yeah, I like this more than Mean Girls. Like truly thinking about it,
and it's
I
way more
fall on this-
quotable. Let's be real. This movie's way more quotable. Fuck Mean Girls.
No, there's definitely. Oh no, Mean Girls.
No,
is
Mean
great,
Girls
but-
is good. Go listen to that episode.
Yeah.
But
No, I really like Mean Girls, but I do like this because it is. I do like an edgier. I almost feel like I feel kind of cringy watching this movie a little bit, but
it's a little cringe.
At the end, I do think about like the scene when Winona Ryder is out on the date and those like the drunk jock dudes are like trying to like molest the girl and like she walks away from them, and they're trying to tip the cow and stuff, and like that's a funny bit, like that's a classic, like you can definitely,
It's a good smash
like,
cut. Like, oh, they're gonna take us out cow tipping again, and then they literally just cow tipping.
Right. They get shit faced and cow tip. It's like that is like it's, you knew it was gonna happen. It's kind of funny, and that's, I mean, it actually does feel kind of ahead of its time, like where you're saying like Clerks and like movies that come kind of after this. Like I don't know. It does feel like kind of like the beginning of that, the Indies 90 boom.
I do feel 5 years later, I feel like, I don't know how this movie did. I'm sure we'll get to that, but I do feel like this came out like 5 years later. It absolutely would have fucking been in the early, like the fucking Quentin Tarantino, because I don't know the filmmakers' names, but it would have been like, the Kevin Smith, the David Soderberghs, like the early 90s indie boom. I do think this was just ahead of that.
Well, dude,
because they would have.
This guy's name's Michael Liam, and he or Lehaman or something, but he kind of just went into obscurity, and he did like the classic like just working man director, and he just went into like TV production, and then he's done a lot of great TV
not
shows.
everyone needs to be an auteur, you know what I mean?
No, right, of course not, but it's great because this was his directorial debut, so
cool.
There's that, and so it's fun to have it's fun to make a cult classic.
And and the writer wanted Kubrick to do it, and then they're like, well, let's give it to a guy who's never directed anything instead.
No, he directed a like 6-minute or 16-minute short in like UC Davis or something, or some I don't know, some college, and it's called like The Beaver Gets a Boner or something, and so it's like they're like, we're gonna give it to the Beaver Boner guy, not to Kubrick. So, no, like they're like, Kubrick,
I feel like in the
touch it.
pitch
Okay.
meeting, he's like, all right, the only person who can make this 3-hour long movie come to fruition, my vision, is Kubrick. And they're like, well, and he's like, I'm gonna need $100 million budget. He's like, I can give you $1 million and the Boner Beaver guy, and he's like, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, no, sold. Like, yeah, totally. It's like,
we just got to make some cuts.
Like,
sure. Yeah.
He's like, God damn it, man, I'm on board. Like, it's like, yeah. But no, yeah. God, I don't even know. I can't remember. I lost my train of thought there. But
you're just thinking about those beaver boners, man. Oh, dude.
I know, dude. Yeah, no. I mean, and that's what's funny. Oh no, after this, he did what is it, like Hudson Hawk or whatever, that
with Bruce Willis?
With Bruce Willis, dude. That like I had to like when I saw it on his filmography, I was like, oh my god, dude, I've seen that movie so long ago, probably on Comedy Central again or something. It was probably like, it's one of those like barely remember. But then he did Airheads, so that's classic. But then literally after that, he literally did like it's all just like TV.
That makes sense. Airheads is fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, but
yeah, good for him.
I got a fun fact about when he talks about the bullets and he's like, do you know German? You know?
Oh yeah, I thought that was a little convoluted and like more information. I mean, I'm like, we know that you're not actually gonna like.
Right. I mean, yeah, even, and it's funny because then they have the scene right after where she's like, oh, German bullets, like, oh, how was I so stupid? And it's like, but like, yeah, that was really stupid of you. Like, it's like, of course, like she's like literally like, are we gonna kill him? And he's like, no. And she goes, okay.
It's already he's already been shown to use blanks too. It's like, no, we're gonna give him blanks and just give him a scare.
Right.
Like, okay, great.
But then he's like, yeah, right, all right. So the fact that he's like, we're using these like special bullets, like that's where it feels like kind of amateur-y written. Like,
yeah.
It feels like it's like overwritten,
trying to
like
be a little
explain this
overwritten.
bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but what's great though is that the bullet's name is I Lie, so that's kind of funny. I like that.
You know what?
You know,
Jordan, that is a fun factoid.
That's a good old fact, right?
This is the reason why, if you want quality content like this, if you want more, please support us on our Patreon, because Jordan's. How do you think we're going to pay for these factoids? You know what I mean? $1 at a time. Stickers, you know the drill.
You know, oh yeah. When you come to Patreon, you unlock a world.
This is the guy. This is the
beautiful
quality
world.
content that you're here for.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. That's like my last bullet point.
So you got-
and I got Money Minute, but I don't know, man. Well,
let's take a
let's-
sec. We've been talking about like what this
let's
movie's
bleed
trying
this
to
stone.
say, what this movie's like fucking doing, and like its theme. But like,
oh,
let's
I
stop.
did want to say actually something. I wish. So that's what I said. Like, I don't know in the 3-hour one, but I would love to get the parent backstory because that was my favorite scene.
That's fun.
Every single time Winona Ryder was with her
you
dad
too.
and mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit, that is a hilarious bit.
Yeah.
That is such a good like poking fun at like waspy culture and like kind of the like but I wish it could get deeper because it's like Winona Ryder feels so alienated, where she's hot enough to be with the popular girls, but like she's like, oh, I'm not like everyone else, and I'm smart and I want to be known, and I want to be seen. I don't want just like some dumb nerd or some jock.
yeah, and
to,
her
like,
parents
care
are
about me.
like pretty chill. Like
And
they
her parents
are
are so supportive,
Yeah.
and they're like super rich, and like even when they're like, "Honey, or you need mental help?" Look, she's like, "Fuck you, mom." Like
That's
it's like, I
that's
don't know,
so that I mean that's universal, but that's so 80s,
Right.
really too, because
so
like
80s, dude.
just very Gen X.
keep the knives away from her. Yeah,
Yeah, it's so Gen X where it's just like, look at all. I mean, the punk scene. Most of those kids were upper middle class,
middle class
that
right,
had
totally.
perfectly
It's kind of that
acceptable
angst.
parents that they're just like, you don't even get me, dad, and they're like, that's totally fine, son. You do you, like I love your mohawk.
Here, Fat Mike. Here's $50,000 to start your little business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and no, it feels that, but
Right.
let's.
But I wish it got
love
into it.
That
a little bit deeper,
I agree
but
because
it's
that
fine.
dynamic
It's
was
not like-
good. It does feel like there could have been
just
more.
like that in Mean Girls though too, where we discussed that in Mean Girls. We're like, it's not really backstory, which is fine. Doesn't really need to have it. I think I like Mean Girls because of I think the script is really tight, and I think it's crazy that Tina Fey, because this is an adaptation of a book as well, and it's like wild that like Tina Fey got I like the storyline of Mean Girls more. I like that. Like
It's certainly a different,
idea, but-
it is definitely like a different type
But I
of
mean-
comedy. But like everything I wanted,
but it is wild. The archetypes are like really like comparable. Like
Yeah.
they're like 1 to
Oh.
1. It's
I was
crazy.
watching this with Mary. She's
Yeah.
like, it started, and she's like, is this just like, but did Mean Girls just rip this off or what? And then
Yeah, totally.
Then it went
Yeah.
because Mary didn't know anything about it, and she's like, oh, this went a completely different route. Like after they kill the first Heather, and it's. I don't know, like everything in Mean Girls I said earlier, I'm like, I like it for what it was, but I know Tina Fey is a writer sort of, and I could feel it kind of bursting at the seams and wanting to be more. And this movie is that, but like too much. It's like,
yeah, you need
I
someone
like
to wrangle it.
it like a little reined in, but like this movie is just like sort of unhinged, and I like that about it, but it also is what makes it kind of a disaster sometimes. But it was funny. That's the thing too. It's like this movie made me laugh. Like it had pretty good jokes and pretty good lines. Like they're just so random. Like she just like comes in and is like, yeah, fuck me gently with a chainsaw and like all this. Like just like
I know, right? It is. Yeah, no. I definitely like. There's some like. I was shocked, but then I like it. I do like that. I like that line a lot, and I love like I like the parent dynamics too, because like JD's dad, how they do the whole like
Cute.
like
Yeah.
introduce him, son, like that.
they do like the
they kind of-
opposite. It's cute.
Yeah, they play off each other, and you can like it is you get I think you get a good flavor of their backstories, like enough that it services their characters well. I'm always like, I'm a sucker for having like
I wish
deeper
you-
character.
I
So,
100%. I agree
right,
because it's
right.
like,
But
that's the thing too.
this
It's like
this is a comedy at the end of the day. So
well, like most movies, what we end up getting frustrated about is that like the potential of something. It's like we watch a movie, and if we're upset about it, it's not usually because it absolutely sucks. It's because it did something and it could have been good. And I think that's the thing, because if like you have no characters and you don't do that and you focus completely on something else, that's fine. But it's like a lot of movies, and this movie too, we're left wanting because it's like they do enough with the characters that it's like, okay, they actually did try, but they could have went further with it, and they should have. But again, I think that's probably the lengthier script probably had that, because even like you said, JD and his dad, like they seem fine, but then he's just like, I don't know my dad, I never cared to know him, but like I never got like, I never thought about it. But then like when he's building the bombs in his room, in his little incel cave, The dad's
his dad's like,
the dad's
"Here's
like,
some hot
hey,
cocoa, son."
hey, dad.
Yeah.
What do you think? And he's like, oh, not tonight, son. And it's like sort of sad. Like you see
Yeah.
the like that part of JD that where it's like his relationship with his dad is just like always at arm's length. Like they have everything's a joke. You know what I mean? I just want my dad to hug me. And he's in there making his bombs and like just being all like a sad boy.
And the
like,
mom backstory was a little convoluted too, but that's fine. Whatever.
yeah, right. She got like blown up or whatever.
But yeah, he like killed her kind of on purpose, maybe, or accident.
Maybe.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that was also a little overwritten.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know.
I know, right? Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, you wanted more of that. And same with, Veronica and her parents. And it's like, but it's those glimpses that make you, that could have been more. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I saw that in his character. And I'm like, that's a good moment on him as a character. But then he becomes more of a idea, like he's not a character by the end of it. He's an idea of like,
and that's kind of his whole
angst personified.
Right. And I think I do actually kind of like the suicide notes, like being that kind of like they don't really make like a strong point of it, but that's the like point of a suicide note is being like what if you can really write a poetic suicide note, and that kind of like goes to show where like most suicide notes are like kind of frantic and they're not really well written and they're not like that thought out, and so it's like getting this like someone can like rewrite your suicide note is kind of interesting. Like I kind of wish they went more into that too. I mean, I think that's what it is. It's like this movie lays a lot of groundwork.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of like, wanting more. But
I've mentioned this movie several times on the podcast. We just need to find a way to watch it. But World's Greatest Dad goes very much into like the idea, because I like the idea in this where it's just like people who no one really likes and are pieces of shit, but then they die, and now suddenly everyone is their friend. They have fond memories of them, and like they just like kind of like martyrize this person or like idolize them in a weird way. And I think that's really interesting, but also like taking the suicide note bit, because World's Greatest Dad is just that. Like the son,
just that.
The son dies from autoerotic asphyxiation, and his dad writes him a really nice suicide note. And his dad's like a writer, a failed writer, and he writes a really beautiful suicide note, and everyone's like, "Oh, he was actually really misunderstood," and all this, you know what I mean? And it's like, that is an interesting dynamic. Like that's an interesting thing in our society, like psychologically, like what that says about us and how we deal with death and how we deal with like our relationships with people and how that changes, but also like what that says about a person or doesn't, like in their final moments.
And I like that too when he like gets frantic and he uses the Moby Dick as like he just starts underlining stuff in Moby Dick, and then that like I do appreciate those jokes too, where like the priest
like,
is just like
sucks.
Eskimo.
I know, Eskimo.
Like like it's kind of like you're like, oh, it is
stole
funny how we
him
will
straight
find...
to Beetlejuice too. Fucking Tim Burton.
But dude, you know what'd be a great back-to-back feature is you watch Heathers and then you watch Elephant, which
dude, I know,
because like Elephant, it's like Elephant,
dude,
the real JD. Like,
honestly,
that's kind of what I was getting the vibe.
Heathers is if Mean Girls and Elephant had a baby.
Yeah, no, for reals, dude. Actually, fuck yeah, for reals. Like, Elephant's so good. That almost won the poll.
No, it didn't.
Well, actually,
it got 0 votes.
It got 0.
Nothing.
I was excited.
It's literally last place.
Oh, never mind.
Which is a bummer
go vote.
because
Go vote, people.
Elephant is good. It's like probably one of my favorite Gus Van Sant movies.
100%. It's one of his best too.
Yeah,
because
for
Gus
sure.
Van Sant is like, he rubs me the wrong way sometimes. But actually, it's funny though. I really like his movies. But
I know what you're saying though, and it's all because he remade Psycho. But it's all connected.
That is actually I forgot. Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's about that time. Do you?
Yeah.
You have a money minute? I'm gonna just keep saying the same shit. Like this movie's a teenage girl with the pimp, and that I love her. She's beautiful with pimples and all. I love her and her snaggletooth. And I think that
right.
That's how I
definitely
feel
like
about this. But
yeah.
I can totally understand not liking this movie 100%. And I do want to. I think I'll get to it in a second. I think someone on the Reddit mentioned it, but like, I didn't know there's a musical of this, and
isn't that crazy?
It sounds
how that, like,
pretty great. Like, it sounds like a good fit. Not that I love musicals, but it sounds like a good fit.
it's just funny that like actually a musical could copy like you probably could like tie up the second act to the third act a little better, but but it is just funny that like Mean Girls got a musical too, and like this really is like it's wild how like
that's a good point.
how like I mean, if Mean Girls wasn't an influence, or if Heather's wasn't an influence on Mean Girls, I like Tina Fey's lying, but
yeah, right. Seriously.
I'll give you a quick little money minute. It's kind of what you'd expect, but like I was saying earlier, it's like they got $3 million to make this, and they actually I think it's serviceable for $3 million. If you said this movie was like 10, I'd be like, oh, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But even then, that seems like a little too much for the time and for what it looks like. But
I think
miss
they
that, dude.
made it
It's
work.
crazy. We
They
talked
could
about
have
this, but-
done the Heaven Prom, man. It would have been easy, honestly.
I know they really could have done it.
You
Like,
didn't even have to show the school, but if you wanted to blow it up with a miniature or something, that would have been cool. But if you have the budget,
Right.
because they didn't show him blow up either, you imply it.
No, right.
But Heaven
And
Prom,
yeah.
dude, that would have been the good shit.
That would have been cool. like the most like technical part of this whole movie is when he gets his finger blown off. Like I feel like
Yeah,
that's
honestly,
really,
though,
like
kinda.
like everything else about this movie is so
$3 mill's
is so, like,
respectable,
Disney
though.
movie.
You know, that's respectable.
Yeah. But three mil is kind of that's what I expect. And then nobody in the world saw this because it only made 1.1 mil. So
That's too bad.
it definitely wasn't like it wasn't this like cash grab craziness. It did really well. It did really well afterwards. Like everything kind of did in the late 80s and early 90s
Yeah.
or like 90s in general, really,
Right.
of home
Video
sales.
That makes sense.
And it clearly gained a lot.
It's got a cult following.
Cult
Surely, I
following,
get,
yeah.
I get that. I mean, obviously, the musical's popular too now, but it's interesting because I remember when I first heard about this movie. So it's never been on like my watch list per se, but I remember when I first heard about it, it's because when I watched Terrence Malick's Badlands, Badlands, right?
Or
Am I tripping? Is that what it's called?
we haven't seen. Yeah, Badlands.
Right? I watched that on my own back in the day.
Yeah, right.
But
I know,
it was like
it's
recommended
gonna make it
alongside this for some reason. They're like, oh, Heather's is like that, but more comedy. And it was like,
Oh.
because the cover is like Winona Ryder and him with the gun. And I'm like, oh, okay. So
yeah.
I knew that it was something along those lines. And so that's kind of what I was expecting kind of going in. So I wasn't expecting it to be like as comedy as it was necessarily, even though, like, I don't know. It was, I didn't know what to think with the, I mean, I'm way past the marketing, but between the posters and the plot synopsis,
Yeah.
and
Well,
what
which
it's
is
compared
funny, though,
to,
'cause-
like it's kind of like you said, all over the place.
Yeah. The only poster I know is the one that looks like a John Hughes film
With the chalk,
That's,
them
you
in
know,
front of the chalkboard,
the
being cute.
chalkboard, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
This one's literally, it's like, yeah, you know all those high school movies of the 80s, fuck that. But it does end up having the same message. But everyone dying and being in Heaven Prom, that's the real John Hughes.
I know.
That's
yeah,
the-
really. Actually, kind of right. Yeah, honestly, but I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely it is darker and
Yeah. Well, cult classic, I get it. And honestly,
yeah.
I'm there for it. Like, the more I talk about this movie, the more I like it, too. But yeah, man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I got
mean, it's one I might forget again though. I will like.
Totally fun.
I just
Mary
Dude,
enjoyed it.
that okay, great.
She
That's
thought
good.
it. She thought it was pretty funny. She just like thought it was kind of weird and didn't expect it to go a certain route, but she got some chuckles, you know. And she's like, "What'd you eat? A brain tumor for breakfast?" You know, like.
Yeah. Well, I'll be remiss if I don't mention Gleaming the Cube, dude. You've got to see that. It's a Christian Slater joint, and it is dope, dude. I can't even fucking explain to you. He fucking like Rodney Mullen skateboards his aggression away. That's like it's poetic on four wheels.
I
dude.
need that.
It's so beautiful. It's a really good movie, dude.
Is it really? Okay, I thought you were. I thought you were
it's an
joshing
awesome.
me.
No. It's fun. It's super campy. It's a high school. We could have put it for this month because it's like a kid in high school that like goes to like it's like a crime thriller where like teens have to get the drug overlords
I don't
and have to
even
bring them down.
know-
It's fucking dope, dude.
When I think of Christian Slater, I'm like, I don't even really know because it's like I always think of.
I think of Good Robot. Or I mean, of Mr.
Mr. Robot. I was about to say that's like
But
what I think of
that's
now.
that's like 40 years after his prime or whatever. You know, like his.
Right.
But
'cause, I
I
think
do-
of him in
Gleam-
True Romance and stuff, but I'm like, what else is it like? For some reason,
You got
Christian Slater in my mind feels like Heathers, but I haven't watched Heathers until this week. You know,
It's
like
true, and
with
he does-
other young, and I guess True Romance. I do think of True Romance. But yeah, Mr. Robot's what I think of. But I'm looking at like his filmography now, and I'm like, yeah, I guess. You know, like I'm like, yeah, I've seen
know,
that, but
right?
I don't think of Christian Slater when I think of,
swear.
I don't think of Hollow Man 2. She's in.
No,
I
right?
guess.
Which is so crazy. Oh, it's got to be Entourage, dude. That's definitely where we know him from. Okay, so actually, do you know about the freaking? They were gonna make a sequel to this, and it still could happen. Like Winona Ryder is still down to be in it. But it just kind of, I don't think it'll ever get traction. It'll never get off the ground, you know, but whatever. But maybe, because the TV series is pretty popular, but the premise
Wait, there's a
would
TV
be,
series? What?
yeah, there's like a, I don't know if it's like a limited run or what.
We're 50 minutes into this podcast, and we talked about the musical. We talked about the Kubrick edition, but we never talked about the actual TV series that I'm just now hearing about. What?
I know, yeah, dude. There's a TV series of Heathers, man. Get
Where
on.
are you at? This is the Heathers podcast. You got to tell me that thing.
I know. Well, yeah, here I am.
You almost glimpsed right over it.
No, I mean, I'm saying it because I know very little info about it, so all I know is it exists.
It probably sucks.
But the sequel to Heathers was Winona Ryder gets a job as a page for Julianne, or is it Julianne Moore? Yeah, Julianne Moore, who's running for president. And so she's working with the president, and then they do like an assassination scheme to kill the sitting president, so she's like vice president maybe, and she has to get to be president or something. I don't know.
It's just like
bonkers.
Veep, but her plugged into it, with more murder.
Right. Yeah.
That's stupid. I hope they don't make a sequel.
Oh, I know.
I'd watch it though.
Dude,
I don't know. I like Winona Ryder too.
Go see Gleaming the Cube, dude. It's beautiful, dude. No, I really like.
Dude, I'll put it on my watch list right now.
No, please, God, everyone, put it on your watch list. Like, it deals with some great great loss, and it looks like it's beautiful, like beautiful 80s skateboarders.
I did not realize.
So
I don't know why this didn't click. Winona Ryder is Black Swan. Why would I think that was someone else?
No, what?
She's
what are
not.
you talking about?
Who is
She's
the
not
main?
in Black Swan.
That's Natalie Portman.
No, that's Natalie Portman, and
she's in it. It says she's in it. Okay, I was gonna say that's not Winona Ryder. Anyway. Oh yeah, she's in it.
I don't remember her because it's the
right.
Mila Kunis, right?
Yeah.
But
you know, movie.
Winona Ryder kind of pops up places sometimes.
She does.
She freaks me out a little bit, but I like her.
Yeah.
She scares me, but
you know, movie. I was looking at her filmography now too. You know, movie she's in that's pretty dang good and she's fun in. Scanner Darkly, dude.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah. We watched that for the pod. Go listen to that episode.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember.
And Dracula. She's in fucking Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Well,
too.
that's like Girl Interrupted is like where I.
Yeah.
That's where I always. That's probably one of the first times I remember being like, oh, this is Winona Ryder. Like, you know.
She's in Edward Scissorhands
great.
too. Man, fuck Tim Burton.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We will. I know. I got a chip on my shoulder about Tim Burton, man. I don't know what it is. I mean, that's for a different podcast. I know what it is.
God, dude, I'm watching a Christian Slater reel,
like a mega cut. You're like Slater,
Mr. Robot, dude. Mr. Robot's so good.
Mr. Robot is fucking good.
People just do not sleep on that show, man. That is such a good show.
Seriously, I know because I feel like it was underrated when it came out, and then it came and went.
It's gone.
It was done in like 4 or 5 seasons or whatever, and I've watched it through twice, and it's so good. Like it's so good. Like it's ambitious and sometimes it doesn't stick the landing entirely, but it's got some of the best shit. There's
a season where he's in jail and it's one of the greatest seasons of TV ever.
Season 2. So
is it season 2?
Yeah.
Season 2, dude. That's such a good fucking season of television.
That show can constantly subvert your
and
expectations.
Portia Doubleday. Oh
dude,
my god.
and Rami Malek. That's like the only good thing he's been.
No, kind of though. And BoJack Horseman, he's amazing.
Oh
in
yeah,
that.
I forgot.
Yeah,
he's good.
but that yeah.
He's literally an Academy Award winning actor for some reason.
I don't know. Oh, I guess he's in Master, but he's not good. It's not like he doesn't matter in that movie. But
I know, like
I forget.
you saying he's in the Master is sort of hilarious because it's like he's not in the Master.
He's not in the Master. He's in 2 scenes of the Master. So he has like 4 speaking lines. So that's that's all I needed.
Oh boy. Anyway, so I got just a couple Reddits. So, first one says competitive bat 5831 says if you enjoy this / musicals, I'd recommend listening to the soundtrack from the play. Pretty irreverent as far as musicals go, but in a good way. And he would. He loves musicals. But he just wanted to put me on it. I had no idea. But I saw some of the art for the musical, and it looks great. So
Maybe I'll listen to a song. I just don't know how to watch a musical or listen to them. But yeah,
nobody does, man. Nobody does.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to get out of them. So, it's not a movie.
No, he also he did 2 comments. He also said so. Same dude says. Also, just about this movie is a fantastic cult classic that is responsible for a musical soundtrack that's a favorite of mine. This movie feels like an edgier precursor that ran so that Mean Girls could walk. Yes, he ran Mean Girls just walks. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, okay. I like that.
That's cute.
Good.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, that was a good dig.
He says, overly realistic with Heather B taking over for Heather A. It's also a movie that I feel like attacks people who feel superior to other teens. It's possible that I feel that way due to personal bias, but my big takeaway from it can be summed up as stop waiting for things to get better and take steps to better them yourselves. I love how the movie tackles what can feel like fake sympathy when someone dies. I recall pretty vividly when a family friend experienced a family death and suddenly everyone wanted to get close and hype up their relationship to the deceased party's brother. It's a weird, fake, but also all too real feeling when faced with death, especially at an age where it's a rare occurrence. Yeah, good comment. See? That's good.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Clones of People 2 says, first watch, I knew very little about this, and I had thought it was going to be like a John Hughes high school 80s comedy. I did not expect this to be so odd and quirky. The tone almost makes it feel like a Tim Burton high school film, especially with Renata Whiter cast as the lead.
Right.
Christian Slater is cast perfectly as the high school charming loner and can really ramp up the psycho when called upon. I think the film does a good job of hitting on a lot of heavy themes in a fun way while also being relatable through the cliques and the cliches and tropes. However, I did find it a bit dated in its execution. I enjoyed it, but never had a moment of it blowing me away. I think this is a film I would have loved to have seen in my teens, but for now, it's a fun, quirky 80s film. It's a 6.5 out of 10 for me. Thank you for that. Yeah, I can see that.
Nice.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, fellers.
Yeah. Thank you guys for
Yeah.
coming.
And I'm gonna check out that musical. Man, one day, we keep saying like
one
we're
day
gonna do
I'll figure out.
we're gonna do superhero movies one month,
Yeah,
but we never do.
and you said
Maybe one
musicals.
month we'll do musicals, but we won't.
I don't know.
But
Yeah,
once
I
we
mean,
run the barrel,
no.
hey, let's be real.
Dude.
We've done literally a month of swimming pool movies before musicals. Like, we're not gonna do. We're never
I know
gonna do it.
we're really kind of tiptoeing around that landmine. But I feel like this. I pose out there like it's like, God. It just I feel I'm cringing at myself for being like, what's a good musical? Like honestly, if we did a full month, are there 20? You know, how many do you need? 25 or just 20? It's 5 movies.
20, yeah.
Yeah, you need 20 movies. Give us someone write a list.
No.
Anyone out there write a list of 20 good musicals, and then we'll see. And I would love that.
Only good musical, and I
Because I
know
want
I'm
to see
gonna
the
get.
jazz singer.
I'm gonna get some hate.
Or not jazz singer.
Singing in the Rain's good. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. No, Singing in the Rain's fine. No, there's that one that's all that jazz. So like I've seen. Remember we were gonna try to
All
watch
That Jazz
All
is
That
not a
Jazz.
musical.
And yeah, it is.
I don't
and
think so, bud.
What? Yeah.
I don't think.
I don't know.
all right.
I've seen 3 musical scenes from it, but I guess
It's
I
got
guess
musical.
maybe-
That's like saying Whiplash is a musical. It's got music in it. It's about we talked about this. movies about musicians are not necessarily
but it's-
musicals.
I swear to God, isn't it? I thought like because it's I don't know. I guess it's about a dude who writes musicals and like is acting in musicals, and then there are musical scenes. But I guess it's not. It's not a traditional musical where like it breaks the fourth wall and they sing to you. But
I think that's a requirement.
I don't know.
In my mind,
Is it though?
yeah, but I don't know because the
Cats just kind of sings about Rumpelstiltskin and shit. They don't. I don't know. It's like,
the only good musical ever made is South Park Bigger, Longer, No Cuts.
I know. Yeah, or any Trey Parker joint that's
That's
a
fair.
musical.
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
I like Cannibal the
Cannibal the
musical.
music.
So.
Yeah, I was gonna say
And,
Cannibal the musical too.
You know, but and Book of Mormon. But I mean that's
Yeah, you can even see Team America's almost a musical. It's got numbers. Anyway, we're done. Shut up. Wrap
I'm
it
outta
up.
here.
We're done. That was
outta here.
Heather's.
Go to Patreon. Go to YouTube.
Next
That's it.
week we're still doing high school movies. I tried to make like a list of more serious high school movies, and of course, like the wackiest one. I didn't know for sure one because I've never seen it. Is Battle Royale.
Right. It's awesome. I love Battle Royale.
We
so I'm
talked
very
about
excited
this.
to rewatch it.
That I've seen like a scene of it drunk at a party from Chet,
Yeah.
or maybe you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Back
I know.
back
Yeah,
in the
right.
day. So,
Back
but
when I drank.
I am looking forward to it because I've obviously know about it and everything. So I'm looking forward to finally actually watching it. So that should be good. And then and then we got one more week I think of more high school movies, and I'll put some more because every fucking high school movie is just like a coming of age comedy. You know what I mean? And I just want
Yeah.
And I guess
And which
that's
is
what
nice
the month's
'cause Battle
about.
Royale is not.
No, it's
So-
not. But it's like
so that'll
next
be good.
week we're gonna get Superbad and Booksmart and probably another John Hughes movie or something. So,
Okay.
so be there for that. Keep an eye out for that one.
And put it under your old thinking cap there. We're going to be doing Horrortober soon. So
Yes.
if you want to,
I
kind of
will
compile a little
Start
list
thinking.
of your horror films.
We're
let us
very,
know.
very busy this coming up.
I'm
So
hyped.
if you can
I am
not
hyped
pick
to
like
do it 'cause I
a,
love Horrortober.
I know, but just don't pick like a 3-hour long opus. You can't.
Salem's Lot. We're not watching Salem's Lot again.
I'm watching.
We're
no,
not watching the new Salem's
I was gonna
Lot.
say
No.
it's funny you said that because we are definitely watching the new one coming to HBO because I've been waiting for that. Coming out on
Is it? It's just a movie, right?
Yeah, it's just a movie. It's not like a miniseries
6 hour or
and
something. It's not a miniseries. Okay,
probably
cool.
under a 2-hour runtime. Who knows?
I was about to watch the trailer for it, and then I got too scared.
It's all right. Yeah, it looks okay. I mean,
Okay.
It looks. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. So yeah, I'm gonna make a post about it. So think about horror movies, and then come check out come to the Reddit. Come tell us what horror movies you want to see coming up. I will try and list, or at least provide links to all the other previous Horrortobers. So because I always feel bad when someone they're like, oh, you should watch these movies, and they name like 5 movies that we've already done. Because that always happens. But so keep an eye
Still
out for
though,
that.
let us know because we'll be like, oh, we've seen these. They're great.
Yeah,
So.
we've watched a lot of the classics, but there's also a lot of classics we haven't done. So
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. I'm already spooky season, man. I'm into it.
I know. I'm hyped. All right.
All right, bye. Goodbye now.
Have a fun time with life. Bye.
See ya.